right, cool. So we're in Denver. This is awesome. Very exciting. It's my first 360. Yeah, right? Cool to be here. I think the title needs to be longer. What do you say? A little bit? Innovation in games. How many people here thought it was actually about gaming? I got a couple of hands. Yeah, I got that yesterday. Like, oh, gaming? Well, sort of. So let me tell you a little bit about myself. I'm what they call a fuck up, pardon my French. This is me in Germany, and in a train station, drunk. I was 21. It's a real photo. So I was a showbiz gopher. I worked at American Beauty. I worked as a chef for a long period of time. And in 1995, I started building websites. And I never thought it would ever turn into a career. And 9/11, joined the Marine Corps as a reservist because all of my client work stopped, and became a combat veteran, which wasn't on the horizon, but sure enough. Make a lot of big risks. I take a lot of big risks, and I make a lot of dumb mistakes. I was a lead designer, period. I was the lead designer at Google for AdWords for many years, and then Cisco and Microsoft, and now I work for myself. I consult. But I also teach. I teach at San Francisco State, and I teach at General Assembly, and I'm very, very big on behavior design. I'm very big on, like, what do we know about human beings? Human user experience equals human experience. What do we know about humans? And then let's build for that. But, big but, I'm a hands-on kind of guy as well, which means that I'm big on actionable takeaways, right? I'm not going to teach you the theory of garlic chicken. I'm going to teach you step by step by step by step. And don't take that literally. I'm not going to talk about garlic chicken. But when you leave here today, number one, I want you to feel inspired. We're going to go through a lot of stuff today. I want you to have a lot of ideas. And I also want you to have a plan of action to create a culture of innovation if you need to, and also to have a bunch of new tips and tricks and tools that you can use on your team to come up with great ideas, right? And start solving real-world problems so that we're not necessarily creating more Uber clones or Airbnb clones, but actually creating apps that change the world. So why am I talking to you today? Well, actually, that map is wrong. We're actually, that was last week. We're actually right around here. Innovation's important. Look around you. This room in here, it depends on you. The cavalry is not coming. It depends on you. The next great app, the next great service that is going to fundamentally change the world starts here. It starts in this room. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but it's actually true. It's actually true. And I need you guys to be innovative, right? I need you to be bold in your innovation. I depend on it. My family depends on it. Your families will depend on it. So show of hands, how many people here right now have a game-changing idea, world-changing idea? One person, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Great. That's a great place to start. Nothing wrong with that. Some conferences it's like one hand and that's it. So that's a huge improvement from 1 to 5. That's awesome. So let's talk about big ideas, right? Where do they come from? Anybody? Yes.
I find you have a lot of big ideas if you're doing something in your normal life and you run into something that really annoys the heck out of you and you come up with a shortcut like, here's a great idea. Other people, if they've encountered this would be a really great way to avoid this.
Absolutely. I'm in San Francisco. I can't get a cab to save my life, and then they show up half an hour late, and did you at the airport? Enter Uber. Well, that's all that problem. Absolutely. Sure. What else? Great ideas. Where do they come from? Pain points in your existing life. Absolutely. Nobody else?
Why we're here.
Okay, cool. Well, that's fine. At the end, I promise you'll have a bunch of ways to get them. All right. No worries there. One of the things that I find is that, if I'm playing tennis, I can hit the ball against the backboard for months, and I'm only going to get so good. But the minute that I start playing with other people in a doubles match, man, skills through the roof, right? That's the same. When you're working with a really great team, you get better, right? So working with other people is huge. Collaboration is huge. And I have been the person who has, dimmed the lights and for months sat in a room trying to get it right, right? And then the minute that I'm collaborating with the team, it's like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So two heads are better than one. So absolutely, working with a team, collaboration, huge. So a couple of ways that I come up with ideas, right? One of them is, also I live in San Francisco, and I live a little south. I live by McLaren Park, and there's hills everywhere. And so when I go for a walk, I always come up with great ideas. So like the other day, I went for a walk, and I'm walking to the park, and it's a big hill, and I'm thinking, much like the person in the back, I'm thinking, wouldn't it be great if, I don't know, I had like an Iron Man suit that I could just wear, and then I could just climb up, just easily. Minimal effort, up the top of the hill, no big deal. But I thought, well, maybe I'll ride my bike. But with the hills, it's insane. I'd have to be in the lowest gear. Would it be great if like my bike could pedal itself? Or I just hop on the bike and the bike pedals itself and then no problem. And I thought, well, if you're going to go that route, you might as well, I don't know, you might as well go with like an electric unicycle, right? So just hop on the unicycle, up the hill, no big deal, easy. So I'm going up the hill, I'm walking up the hill, obviously, and of course I realized that I totally forgot my phone. But, I cracked the screen, so it's like the value of like, well, if it's cracked, doesn't really matter, so not a big deal. But I'm thinking, all right, I forgot my phone, but it's cracked, don't really care. But wouldn't it be cool, I don't know, if I could just put something on the top of my head, right, that would just make me smarter, so I wouldn't forget stuff. Right? I just put it on and then I'm good. And I thought, well, maybe I don't even, well, I don't know if that's going to solve the problem. It'd be really cool if I could just, I don't know, maybe rather than having to replace the entire phone, I just had a modular screen. I could just go out and get a new screen for it, easy, Amazon, slide it right in, no big deal. I thought, well, why do that? Why can't I just have the phone projected right onto my skin, right? All the data I need right onto the skin, perfect. That would be great. Or, I don't know, maybe I could just make phone calls. Why do I need a phone? Why can't I just use my watch? Why can't I just make phone calls directly from my watch? Right? So I get to the top of the hill, and I go into these trees, which is a great place to sort of meditate. It's a great place to come up with ideas, just walking around in nature. And I'm up there, and I'm thinking, because I live in an earthquake zone. I don't know if you guys saw this, but we had like a 4.0 today. San Francisco. And I'm thinking, when the big one happens, if and when, I'm probably going to go up to this area, and I'll probably use that as like where I end up if the house collapses. But it'd be really cool if I could set up like a shelter, and all I had to do was like carry up like a giant canvas and then pour water on it, turn it into this concrete structure. Anyway. So I'm up there and I'm thinking, this is gorgeous. It'd be great if I could take this entire experience with me. It'd be really cool if I could scan it in 3 dimensions and then use it for like virtual reality, right? So that I can come home and I can just go back to that place in the woods. And it would be even better if that virtual reality was like in a cardboard box, right? Just VR, cardboard box, throw it on, no big deal. But I was thinking like that might be a problem because I might get in the shot while I'm recording it. So if I could, I don't know, have an invisibility cloak. That would be perfect. Then I would be put on the invisibility cloak, can't see me, no matter what, I'm not getting in the frame. No big deal. So I realize it's this day, it's my grandmother's birthday, and I'm running late. I don't have my phone. I forgot my phone, and it's like time to go. I'm like, well, I can run down the hill, but I thought maybe there's a better way, right? Why can't I just, hop on a hover bike? Right? That'd be perfect. Hop on a hover bike, take the hover bike directly there. But I thought, if you're going to have a hover bike, you might as well go with hoverboard, right? So hop on the hoverboard. But that might be dangerous, going down the hills and with all the traffic. So maybe not the hoverboard. Maybe just a jetpack, right? Jump on the jetpack. They came and went too soon, and then they're around, but then So take the jetpack, but if you're going to go a jetpack to get home from the park, it'd be really cool if you could record it. So you have this drone, throw the drone up in the air, and then the drone would just follow you as you on your journey home, right? And you could put it on YouTube or tweet it out. That would be really awesome. So I get to the front door, and I'm thinking, keys, right? Where are my keys? I think I forgot my keys, and I'm, wouldn't it be great if I had a digital lock, right? So I didn't have to have keys. It would just automatically voice recognition or touch, or better yet, maybe I could just have, I could just think, open. Right? It works for bunny ears. Why doesn't it work for my door, right? So I put on this thing on my head and I think, okay, open door. Or better yet, maybe the door is symbiotic. So I touch the door, and the door recognizes who I am from my emotional state, from my state of being, or whatever it is, and then instantly it just opens up, it dissolves, fine, no big deal. So I get into the house, and of course the place is a mess. I'm like, oh man, I got to clean this weekend, and there's a bunch of dust. And I'm thinking, man, wouldn't it be cool if, I don't know, the dust was smart, and the dust could move itself, right? Type in a couple of command lines, dust on the other side of the room, or under the rug, right? Under the rug command. Anyway, so I'm thinking I still need to get a gift. I haven't picked anything out, and it would be really cool. I'm thinking, what do I get? What do I get? I don't know, clothes, but I don't know if I have enough time. It'd be really cool if I could print out a scarf at home, right? Just print it out, boom, scarf done. Or maybe, but okay, well, I don't know if that's going to work, but maybe I could just, maybe a card will work. So what if I put a card together, but make the card in 3 dimensions? So I create this card in 3 dimensions, but it's going to be brittle, and I've got to transport it. So it'd be really cool if I could take this 3-dimensional object and sort of fax it to her, right? Sort of, take this vat, take the 3D object, and just throw it in, and then automatically it just pops out on the other side. Or, I don't know, here's a crazy idea. What if I just had a fleet of insect drones come pick it up and deliver it? No, that's too out there. I don't know. What if I could just, maybe Amazon, right? Amazon will deliver it. I'll just say, quick order, Prime Express, have something delivered, and it drops off on our front porch. And I'm thinking, okay, these are all ideas, but I haven't eaten anything, and I'm a bachelor, so there's nothing in the fridge, of course. I've got to jump in the shower. It'd be really cool if I could just print out a piece of pizza, right? Just pizza, prints. When I get out of the shower, it's done, no big deal. And I'm in the shower, which is another great place for ideas. And I'm in there and I'm thinking, all right, it's the second shower I've had today. Not exactly smart, live in California, water rationing. Be really, really nifty if the water could recycle itself. So I take a shower and the water I use from the morning is automatically reused and cleaned. And, because it's for me, a shower is such a great place for ideas, I'm thinking, I know what's going to happen. I know how today is going to go. She is going to ask, how's your love life, right? She's going to ask, what's the story there? There's got to be a creative idea. There's got to be a solution, because right now I don't really have anything to say for myself. Maybe if I had a robotic girlfriend, right? That would work. Robotic girlfriend, but no, she's not going to go for it. It's not going to work. Maybe if I did a rear projection, right, of my next door neighbor or something. That might work with Skype. How would I do it? I'd have to get some plexiglass. I'd have to get some rear projection LCD paint, right? So then I could rear project onto the plexiglass using screen goo. And that might work, but maybe she's too smart for that. Maybe she won't go for it. Maybe I just have to shoot a couple of videos and then have her move around the room. I don't know. So I lock up and I'm heading out the door, and I don't really have much security at the house. Not really. I've got a master lock. That's about it. It'd be really cool if I don't know, I could have maybe something else, right? Maybe it's a little overkill, but South Korea created it. It works. It's an idea. But then maybe I don't even have to worry about it, because pre-crime exists already, so maybe they already know who would break in and when they would break in. Anyway, so I hop on the bus, go Giants, and I'm running like a little Giant plug. And there's got to be a better way. Why do I have to take the bus? I mean, where's teleportation, right? Teleportation trials have been going on. It works. It's a real thing. Why can't I teleport to grandma's? That's the big question. Or why can't I just hop in a car and fly there, right? Hop in the car, go and fly, but she's not that far away, so maybe that wouldn't actually work. Or, I don't know, what about these self-driving cars? It'd be really cool if I could have like a self-driving car come pick me up and then take me there directly. And, I don't know, while I'm in the car, I could sort of like write the card, and I could catch up on stuff, and I could maybe even have a party and make a couple of phone calls. But in order for that to happen, we need to have like solar-powered smart roads maybe. And that's all well and good. I'm running out of time, and I still need to think of a gift because I'm running out of time. And okay. So what is she like? What is she like? Jewelry. Jewelry's expensive. Maybe it won't be expensive because they're going to start mining on asteroids, so that'll bring down the cost of platinum, gold, diamonds, maybe. I don't know. That's maybe some touch and gesture sensitive jeans, right? Google just came out with these, so why can't? I mean, that's an idea. But I don't know what her measurements are. So I know she loves to play chess. We could get her a chessboard. That might work. Kind of a Star Wars-esque type of chessboard. I know that, you know, her dog just passed, so why can't we clone her dog, right? That's an idea, but that might be kind of creepy. I don't know. You know, so I'm thinking, well, she's not very mobile anymore, so it'd be really cool if like all of the furniture in our house just automatically moved, right, for her. So we could just put it on these pallets and like, right? She wants something out of the dresser just sort of comes to her wherever she is. And she's kind of got a bad hip, so we could print out a hip, but I'm not going to install it, and that might be kind of weird. It's like, here's a hip for you. Here it is in a box. And, you know, we love having her around. I hate to see her go. I mean, we're all destined for that, but I don't know, maybe we could keep her around a little longer, right? Her memories, this sort of thing. Anyway, so I finally get there, and of course, you know, I have a habit of making mistakes and forgetting stuff, and I realized that, yeah, wrong day. It was the wrong day. So, again, I referenced slide number 2, right? Yeah, I make a whole lot of mistakes. So I've been worrying and stressed about this whole event and this situation. And this is, if I'm not careful, it's going to, you know, ruin my day or my weekend. It'd be really cool, again, if I could just strap something on the top of my head and then change my emotional state instantly, right? Done. No problem. So anyway, that was my little trip to Grandma's house. But what's really interesting is that everything that I displayed here today is real. It's all real. It all exists. All the references in the source material are in the slides. I'm happy to post them afterwards. And it really is an exciting time to be alive. It really is. Like, if you can think it up, you can essentially do it. There's a solution for it, right? But I'm wonder, and I caution everybody, like, are we trying to solve the real world problems, right? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, again, how many people want to see another Instagram or Uber clone? There's loads of them out there. Why aren't we trying to solve real problems, right? Real world problems are going to make a real change in the world. Or the amount of homelessness in San Francisco, or the gentrification in certain neighborhoods, which, who knows? I mean, or, you know, the water shortages in California, or the cost of living in San Francisco, which is just outrageous. So let's talk about innovation. Back one. How many people think that what is coming out of Silicon Valley or tech in general is extremely innovative? Nobody? You see, this is actually the time when you would raise your hand or not raise your hand, because otherwise it sends a message to me that nobody thinks we're innovating and we are doomed. One person innovating. So basically what the message you're sending me is, and maybe this is true or not, is that we're not innovative at all. We have a long way to go. And yeah, nothing coming out of Silicon Valley or tech or mobile is very innovative. And I guess that's what you're saying. Is that true? Wow, that's a problem. I mean, that's a real problem. So why are we not innovating? Like, why is that not happening? It's not difficult to do. And what we're going to talk about is how to do it in really a short amount of time. Like quick sprints, great idea, blows your mind. That was easy. Oh my God. And I've been doing it for a while. So Apple loses lack of innovation, biggest threat to care providers. Yeah, baby boomers. Whole lot of people right now are not, I don't know how to say this being PC, but a whole lot of people are not dying, which is a great thing. They're living longer. Maybe a positive phrase is a whole lot of people are living longer than ever. That's what I should have said. And so as a result, you know, what is that going to look like? Where are they going to live? How does that whole thing work, right? And that's a problem. And there's a whole lot of where are the solutions? And you know, people are working on all this stuff, but you know, clearly based on the consensus here, you know, we're not being very innovative. So yeah, one of the reasons lack of innovation is that entrepreneurs are not exposed to real world problems. Makes sense. Another is that, you know, Michael Arrington, TechCrunch, interesting fellow. Hey, we don't push the envelope? It's super comfy and there's free Wi-Fi. So, how do we come up with great ideas? This is so overlooked and it's so easy and I don't understand. So the human operating system, right, human beings, haven't changed in a millennia, but that's a little hard to grasp. Let's just say 200 years. Human beings are the exact same today as they were 200 years ago, fundamentally speaking. And when you look at Don Brown's research on human universals, right, if you are a human being, human DNA, you are pre-baked with story, right, narrative. Hey, guess what? Why don't we create a story in the UI, in the interface? 2/3 of all human mental processing, 2/3 is visual cortex. That's a lot, right? Better not add that next block of text, right? So knowing about human beings really is going to inform design decisions. Yeah, basic model. We're like 100,000 years ago multiplied by gizmos, gadgets, iPods, and iPads of today. So where do great ideas come from? Well, humans aren't changing, so let's go at the human level, figure out what the problems are in day-to-day life, and come up with solutions. So what is the solution? Well, I'm going to show you a really quick video.
Okay, people, listen up.
Sorry, volume's pretty
People
bad.
upstairs handed us this one, and we got to come through. We got to find a way to make this fit into the hole for this, using nothing but that. Let's get it organized. Okay.
So that's us. Based on the consensus from the show of hands here, that's us right here. It's like these are real world problems. We need to put the right pieces together, figure out a way. And again, anything is possible. So it's really up to this people in this room to solve it. You're it. Congratulations. You're going to save the world. So how do we come up with great ideas? Is it brainstorming, right? We get a bunch of people in a room, right? How many people think brainstorming works? A couple people? Yeah, it works, sure. All right. How many people think it doesn't? Well, half, 1.5. Okay. Yeah, what happens is you get a bunch of group of people in a room, whiteboard, Post-its, whatever, and you're like, all right, how are we going to make this product better? Well, I don't know, and just throw it around the room. You're only going to get so far. But that's not a bad thing. What I'm going to talk about next is like, how do you frame it? How do you tweak it? How do you take that exercise and shorter amount of time come up with really great ideas? So is it brainstorming? Well, sort of, but it's framed. So what we've got here at bottom left is a Innovation Games Workshop in, I don't know if some of the people were here. It was iOS in Amsterdam, and of course other classes in General Assembly. But essentially, what's really interesting about doing all these exercises, which is just it's just weird. I've done it for a while now. Is that you come up with crazy scenarios and crazy combinations that you would think never fit, and 80, well, let's be fair, 70 to 80% of the time they have market potential or market value today. And you're like, there's no way that's possible. And I'm sitting here in these classrooms, I'm sitting here in these workshops, I'm thinking, I need to file a patent on that, I need to file a patent on that. I mean, it's some really amazing stuff. So great references to have for your team. Brainstorming, Innovation Games by Luke Coleman, Tinker Toys. These are books that I reference that I use. I've got them all in an Amazon link, bit.ly.com, super cool. They're all there if you want. So how do you do this? How do you come up with great ideas? How do you brainstorm in a different way that generates optimum outcome? Well, what do you need? You need pens, Post-its, butcher paper, masking tape, dry erase markers, mental notes. Mental notes are not being made anymore, so maybe not mental notes, but essentially design principles if you've got them, right? It's helpful. Not hard, not expensive, maybe 50 bucks if you buy a bunch, no big deal. Went to the dollar store the other day where I live, just walked in, and they had like tons of dry erase markers for $1. It was amazing. So let's talk about building a culture of innovation. Like, let's get into scenario, brass tacks, step at a time, right? Here's the actionable. No theory of chicken here. So how do you build a culture of innovation? So let's talk about a scenario. First week on the job, company's not innovative, right? Maybe they're brand new. And you have full autonomy to make it so because they hired you to do the job. You're like, all right, it's your team. You make it the way you want. So what do? Anybody? Well, I'm hearing, yeah, just go ahead. It's a little louder, but have a meeting. Sure. Okay.
Go walk around and see where the problems are.
Walk around and see where the problems are. Absolutely.
Just ask. Just ask what are the issues.
Absolutely. Anybody else? One of the things that I find, at least the first week, is I schedule one-on-ones with everybody, right? Because you're new, so you can get away with a whole lot. And that is a huge opportunity to set on one-on-ones and to interview everybody you're going to work with. Like, how do you like working here? What are the challenges you find? This sort of stuff. You're building rapport. You figure out that you both like World of Warcraft or whatever, and then you start realizing, like, the real problem is actually this, which didn't actually come through on the interview. So, step by step, right? Yes, schedule weekly innovation meetings is number one, right? Don't mention games in the meeting invite because senior executives will be like, I don't have time for games. Right, so you've got to say, yeah, you got to say like innovation exercise, and it's weekly or it's bi-monthly. Advertise innovation. So how do you do that? So here's an example. I work for a company, and the CEO said to me, he's like, I want this place to look like we are design-centric, and you've got full autonomy to do so. So what does that mean? So basically, it means he wants pictures of mocks on all the walls. He wants all the walls to look like a war room situation. So I went out and I bought a massive printer that does the tabloid size, high color, spent a ton of money on the ink, and I bought these giant, what are they? I always forget what they're called, but they're giant poster board type things. And I just took everyone's work from all the other designers that they've already created, and I just posted them up. And I put them near the lunchroom, and I put them near all the conference rooms. And so constantly you're just seeing every day, you're sending these micro messages to everyone on the team like, this is the stuff that's going on. And the same is true with the innovation, right? You have these innovation games and you talk about give them a hot tub and remember the future and all this craziness, and you come up with these wild, wacky ideas. You know, post all those results in a public place for the rest of the company to see. And it's a little thing, and you're like, it's not going to make a difference, but it does. Minimal cost, minimal effort, and it's constantly, when you're walking in off the street to your daily job on Monday at 9:30 or 8:30, you're like, yeah, right? It's a signal. Institute quarterly hackathons. This is fun. You don't have to build. You can build whatever you want as long as it's within our product or it's within our industry, right? This is great. You get to see talents shine through, people you didn't even know were really good coders, and they can come up with anything. Like, here's an animated GIF extension that works for our ad company. This is great, but it's a really simple step by step, and it works. So let's talk about another scenario. How do you improve a feature? So let's say Google's asked you to improve Gmail Compose experience. They're not going to give you access to any of the data. because that's what they do. What do you do? What's the first step? Anybody?
Learn that experience.
Learn the experience. Yeah, you're a user already. Learn how it works. Yes. What was the other one?
Mock up the data.
Yeah, mock up the data. Sure, absolutely. What else? That's it. Yeah, absolutely. What do users like, don't like, right? Find the common denominators of wins and losses, success, confusion, that sort of thing. Absolutely. So yes, conduct your own usability tests with your own users. Identify existing pain points, and then give them a hot tub. Of course. And then worst nightmare, an empathy map. You're like, what the hell is he talking about? I'm going to get back to it. Let's give you another scenario. All right, improve the product. Uber's asked your team to envision the future of Uber and what the next version could look like. Full access, data, insights, everything. What do you do? Anyone? Yes?
A little more of the same, like contact users, but also look at the data and see some trends.
Absolutely. Makes sense. Sure. Anybody else? Yeah, that's about right. Identify existing areas of success and pain, then give them a hot tub. And remember the future. Yeah, what's with the hot tub thing? Great question. We are getting to that. All right, let me give you another scenario. CEO has tasked you with finding out why the company is not successful or why it can't keep top talent to compete in the marketplace. Let's say, I don't know, Amazon, New York Times article, right? So this is Jeff Bezos saying, hey, what's going on? Do we need to change our culture? Why are we getting an article like this written? Clearly there must be a kernel of truth to that article. Kernel. So what do you do? How do you find out the answer to this?
Ask the people why they're leaving.
Yeah, well, exit interviews, absolutely. What else?
Ask people what they're excited about the next job that they're getting, because they're leaving for somebody.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Call everyone who left.
What's that?
Call everyone who left.
Call them up, yeah.
Give more books.
What's that?
Give more books.
Give more books?
Books.
Oh, perks. Oh, absolutely, yeah. Yeah, like free lunch finally? I don't know. Well, I think speedboat. I think that's the answer. Yeah. I think speedboat is the answer to that. So let's talk about these games that I'm talking about, these innovation games, which is really what the talk is about. Let's start with affinity mapping. Right? This is just basic. This is a little add-on to your existing brainstorming. So how many people here know what an affinity map is? Okay. Let's go through a scenario, and I'll walk you through how it works step by step. So multiple rounds. They're each 5 minutes apiece. So basically, I would take this entire room. You all have Post-it notes, and you have 5 minutes to come up with as many ideas as you can that solve for affordable housing in San Francisco. How do we make it, right? And within 5 minutes, you've got at least 5 Post-its from everyone in this room. And what happens in 5 minutes is you have a boatload of ideas, right? So affinity mapping is you take all those ideas from everybody, and then you cluster them into groups. Right? These are the same, these are not the same, right? You group them, you take all of that data and you immediately plug it into a spreadsheet, right? Because you need to take all that data and you need to keep it and then you need to turn it into an action item. So paste on a wall, whiteboard, cluster, extract, prioritize, create an action plan or solution. 10 minutes. Wow. Okay. So yes. Move offices, Treasure Island, earthquake, tiny houses, dollar crash, tech housing on barges, more hubs, undeveloped areas, this sort of thing. And then you cluster them together, right? And you have insights. Let's talk about hot tub. We got 10 minutes left, so I want to make sure I cover all this stuff because this is super important. This is the heart of it. So give them a hot tub, innovation game, right? How it works. Again, it's the 5-minute rounds, right? 5 minutes. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to come up with the craziest ideas that don't make any sense whatsoever, and you are supposed to push for crazy, right? So every time that, let's see, I want to improve the Gmail Compose experience. Every time I hit the send button, it instantly donates $20 to some charity, right? or every time I hit compose, or every time I send an email, it automatically knows my mother's preferences and says, hey, you know what, maybe you want to make anyone cry today? Maybe you should use different words. Here's a suggestion, right? So crazy stuff that doesn't exist. Same thing as wild as you can, and you are going for out there, right? This is the point, because what happens is when people have liberty to go out there and crazy, it doesn't have to exist, it doesn't have to be real, it's fantasy, is what happens is people just start to think a little bit above the box, and now you're getting outside box thinking. So let's take an example here. So how do we improve the Gmail Compose experience? Every time I pre-populates copy for people I email the most, signature templates, auto themes for friends. This is just some random stuff, right? Some of these are not even as out there as they could be. Again, what do? You take all of that, you cluster it together, you find the common themes, and then you put them in a spreadsheet, you create an action item, you do a validation exercise. Can we do any of this? And again, what happens is 70, 80% of the time, these ideas are great and they potentially work. All right, remember the future, right? This is another great one. Same thing, 5 minutes, multiple rounds as needed. And what you're trying to do is imagine that sometime in the future you've been using the product or feature for some time, and you want to basically say, what's that experience like? So let's talk about this. So Uber in 5 years. It's driverless, moving parties, airline and bus space, Meals on Wheels, package delivery, knows my preferences, rocking GPS, finally get that GPS integrated with Google Maps because Google Ventures is the biggest funder. And then what you do is you cluster those together, right? And again, we're talking about 5-minute rounds, right? You do 1 round, 2 round, 3 round, come up with amazing ideas in a short amount of time, and all you've done is essentially taken the brainstorm exercise as a group, and you made it insular for each individual person, and within 5 minutes you come up with a ton of ideas just from one person. Do a couple of rounds. Within that hour, you have an enormous amount of ideas. So let's talk about worst nightmare. How much time we have? Worst nightmare is great, and this is great for all of your apps because essentially it's like, let's envision the worst possible nightmare of what we're creating, right? So every time I use it, I don't know, our product is a sports drink, and every time I drink it, it induces vomiting, right? So again, you want to exaggerate. This is an exaggeration exercise, the worst possible, thank you, the worst possible nightmare. Cluster them into emotional themes, because what you're going to find is, like, every time, here's an example, every time that I use Gmail, for example, the little icon hides underneath my bed and then tries to shock me while I'm asleep. You're like, what? But you take that exaggerated idea, and you're like, what is the emotional theme? Well, it does something that I'm not aware of. It does something unexpected, and it scares me. So here's an example. Worst nightmare, improve Gmail Compose, misspells all the words that are perfectly spelled. It starts sending me spam. It makes me feel stupid. It makes every email I send public. I think Hillary Clinton opted in on this, this feature. Imports and attaches photos that are like, I didn't even know existed. Shocks me when I hit compose, forwards my emails to unwanted people, automatically CCs everyone in the company. Right, so what do is you cluster those into emotional groups. Right, send spam, right? Shocks me. And then, this isn't fully defined, but essentially you take that and you're like, what is the emotional content here? And make that a to-do list. Let's not make people stupid. Let's not do things in our UI that is unexpected. Let's be completely open about what happens next, right? This becomes your to-do list based on your worst nightmare. All right, speedboat. Speedboat, pretty easy. Draw a picture of a speedboat on a whiteboard. Draw a bunch of anchors as well, and each of those anchors, essentially, you're going to attach Post-its to. And speedboat is essentially not a speedboat with all these anchors. Right? The anchors are keeping the boat from moving forward. So what are those anchors? And that boat could be your company, it could be your product, it could be your brand, it could be your team. Right? So why aren't we profitable? What does that look like? New CEO, no clear call to action, the homepage is not clear, lack of engineering talent, competitors have better technology. You do this as a group, right? And essentially, this is how you solve the CEO issue, right? The CEO is like, what's wrong with our company? and you get information from everybody in a safe environment, and it's completely anonymous. Right? So everyone writes out their name, their ideas of why we're not successful, like you suck, and I don't make enough money, or whatever it is, and then essentially you post them up on a wall as a group, and you're looking at the problem objectively. All of a sudden, you're like, oh wow, and then you cluster them together, and then you create a spreadsheet and essentially create action items. Can we solve for this? Lack of engineering talent. Possibly. What's the action item? Well, let's make a couple more posts on AngelList. Let's explore other avenues of finding new talent, like conference, new CEO. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we don't touch that one. So this is a really simple way in a short amount of time to come up with a solution, look at problems objectively, and then create a plan of action to attack them. Right? And then what happens is you cluster them together, and essentially you take all these anchors that are problems that keeping your company, your product, brand, your team, your marriage, whatever it is, from being successful. You look at them objectively, and then you create a plan of action to solve them. All right, so let's talk about empathy map briefly. Empathy map is diagram. Want to learn about your users. What are they seeing, hearing, feeling, doing? You don't have to know. Guess. If you have data to back this up, that's even better, right? And essentially, you have an objective look about your users. Now, we are running out of time, so I want to just kind of skip past some of this. Killing me. What this is doing is actually driving home that point, I think. But all right, last thing. Whose design is it anyway? How many people know the television show? Yeah, right? Whose line is it anyway? Well, whose design is it anyway? This is a game that I actually developed at General Assembly when I started working, teaching there. And the idea is this: basically, everyone in the crowd, right, comes up, throws up a random thing like has to work on a flower pot. It must levitate. It must breathe underwater, and it must blah blah blah. And then you figure out those are your features. So your 4 features, one random problem to solve. So let's say it's cost of living in San Francisco, and must work with flower pots, and must levitate. Crazy stuff. We're like, man, we're never going to find a solution to it. And believe it or not, this crazy exercise comes up with 50 to 60%. Great idea and huge market potential. Here's an example. So, problem solved, homelessness, features, must levitate, be edible, waterproof, biodegradable, design principles, which I use for designers, and this is a great exercise for hiring designers, by the way, because you're paying for their innovation, not for their high glossy final product on their portfolio. Social proof, variable reward, delighters, and it must work on an Apple Watch. Go. And you got 10 minutes to do it. It's a fun exercise, it's a great exercise, and it gets everybody thinking about really crazy ideas and putting it all together. And here's an example of some of the. All right, so here we got one of my former students. Principles, trigger, proximity, authority, features, deep space navigation, maps, gestures, response to, I don't know what that is, emotional output, must feel empowered, platform is Apple TV. She came up with a solution, which is like, wow, that would actually work. Great idea to come up with, it's a fun exercise for the group, and it's also a great way to come up with really amazing, innovative ideas from randomness. Last thing, product box without a cat. All right, there we go. So product box. When I was at Google working for GRM, what we did is essentially took a bunch of boxes, clean white boxes, pens, papers, stickers, whatever it was, and we broke them into teams. And the exercise, this is great for an offsite too, the exercise was to imagine what the product that you were working on looks like on the shelf at Best Buy, right? Or Target or whatever. And essentially, then you get up and you present it. This is the product, blah, blah, blah. And what happens is you're all working on the same team, you're all working on the same product, but you're all presenting what you think is the most important piece of all of this. So let me finish with this. That's the last slide. A lot of fun, easy to do, minimal cost. So this is the big point, right? Again, cavalry's not coming. You're it. Congratulations. It's your job. Solve it. And I know we got the talent here to do it, but coming up with the ideas is easy. It's really not difficult. If you do it in the right way, you can come up with an enormous amount of creativity, minimal output, minimal cost, and you can do amazing things. So thank you very much, folks. My name is Ben Sykes. I love doing this. If you like what you saw here, please send a tweet or whatnot. But that's it. Thanks. And you have my phone number. you.